A video from Brawl Stars was just released, and it looks like every brawler in the game is getting a brand new star power. On top of a new brawler coming in the game and more. Let's go over it. All right, now what you're watching right now is the video that was released on the Brawl Stars YouTube channel, and there's 27 of these phrases that keep on popping up. 27 of them. We got 26 brawlers in game, and we've had a new brawler pretty much every single update. So, I mean, together with that, that'd be 27. And I mean, look, you can't exactly tell what it is from the words, but I kind of feel like it's got to be a new star power. On top of that, just sort of add some little flavor to the mix here. On Reddit, the Brawl Stars team, or maybe it was just one of the moderators, asked for ideas for alternate star powers for every brawler. There was a post on that was pinned on Reddit for a couple days. And I can only, my main guess for what all this means is that every brawler is getting a new star power, and we're getting a new brawler in the next update. Now, Brawl Talk is coming out tomorrow, so if you want the latest details on what's going to be in Brawl Talk, all the summary of Brawl Talk, all of the stuff you can expect and the sneak peeks for the update, definitely recommend subscribing. And if you want that notification, then turning on the bell will definitely help with that. All right, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna play a little bingo, basically. I mean, it's not exactly bingo, but it kind of looks like it. And look, what I did is I put all the brawlers on the page. I got all 27 of those phrases here on this overlay. And we're gonna try and figure out what phrase matches up to what brawler. Definitely try and do this along with me. I'd love to hear what ones you guys guess for all of this. And of course, I'm gonna also try and figure out what these potential star powers might be based on their name and for the brawler it's with. All right, number one, Band-Aid. Now, one thing I wanna say, there's a couple of these on here that are sort of like healing type like names where you imagine some sort of healing ability. And knowing Supercell, I kind of feel like any brawler could have a healing ability. I mean, of course, if you already have one, maybe that makes you less of a target to get a new healing ability, although it would still make sense. So who knows, or a lot of these healing ones are hard to guess except for some of them. Band-Aid, I'm gonna leave this one blank for now. We're gonna come back to it and we'll go through process of elimination for some of these. Number two, Hyper Bear. All right, look, bear, it's gotta be Nita, right? The only one who really has anything to do with a bear. So I imagine Hyper Bear is something like maybe Nita's bear moves fast or something. It is an incredibly slow bear, so that would kind of make sense. Something to do with doing something faster, like doing it hyper. You know, that would make a lot of sense. So I imagine that Nita's. Number three, Protective Pirouette. Our pirouette, spinning kind of a ballerina sort of thing. The only brawler I can really imagine as a ballerina is Piper. I feel like that's got to be Piper. Maybe not, but I don't know exactly what it does. Maybe whenever she supers, kind of sort of like pirouetting in the air, she gets some sort of defensive ability, potentially. Who knows? Number four, Magnum Special. Look, that Magnum, Colt. Colt's the one who has guns. They're kind of like Magnums. So I imagine that one's for Colt, and maybe his attack gets some sort of boosted abilities or whatever it is. I don't know whether it's faster, longer, more damage, who knows? Something to do with better attack. Number five, Robo Retreat. All right, clearly this is gonna be one of the four robots, Carl, Rico, Barley, or Daryl. Now we don't know, it's hard to tell what one it is just based on that. So we're gonna skip this one, come back to it, because we're gonna go through some process of elimination here. Number six, Thorny Gloves. That's gotta be Rosa, right? You know, she has gloves. They literally kind of have spikes on them, which could just may as well be thorns. I feel like it's gotta be Rosa, so probably something to do with making her punches be even better in some way, I would imagine. Number seven, Demolition. Demolition, TNT. It's gotta be Dynamite, right? I imagine that would be Dynamite making his attacks or super in some way be better, I would imagine. Number eight, Tough Guy. I don't really know this one. I mean, I imagine it's a tank, right? So like Primo, Frank, Bull, kind of makes sense for a Bull. He is like a bit of a tough guy, but we'll come back to this one, see if we can eliminate some other brawlers and figure it out a little bit easier. Number nine, Curveball. My first thought, of course, is gonna be BB, right? The baseball type player who hits stuff with a bat. You face curveballs. But number 20 is Batting Stance. And that one literally has to do with a bat. And I think that one is even more appropriate for BB. So I'm actually going to give 20 to BB. And my thought with number 9, curveball, is look, all it means potentially is you're throwing something. So it could be any of the throwers in a way. That's sort of my guess. So like Barley, we just got rid of Dynamite, could potentially be Barley. Or does anything to do with a ball? Like Rico technically shoots out balls. Maybe, you know, they could curve or something. Let's come back to curveball though. Number 10, extra nauseous. Now my first thought with this one is, you know, like extra poison for like Crow. I feel like that kind of makes sense. But number 27 is carrying Crow. Look, it's got Crow in the name. I got to give that one to Crow. All right, so 27 to me is going to Crow. And what is carrying Crow exactly? Well, carrying is one of those birds that flies around when stuff is just about dead and then they go in. So I imagine potentially maybe when Crow supers or something, maybe it does even more damage. Who knows? Something to do with when an enemy, or maybe himself, who knows? It could be related to him, is lower health, potentially. I don't know. That's my guess. 10, extra nauseous though. So then if it's not Crow, what could it be? My thought is Barley, because Barley sort of is poisonous with his alcohol. It is a drug. He throws on the ground, you get poisoned, sort of. I don't know. It's not a perfect fit. But I'm going to go with Barley for number 10. That's my thought. 11, Sponge. What? Sponge? I don't know. If you have any idea what Sponge is, let me know. I have no idea. I'm just going to go through process of elimination for Sponge. My guess is you can take more damage. But that could almost go for anyone. It's maybe more appropriate for a tank, but who really knows? Number 12, Healing Shade. This one, again, it's another healing ability, and I feel like it could kind of go with anyone. Shade is maybe some sort of hint, but kind of hard to tell. 13, Rocket number 4. All right, come on, this one's pretty obvious. Brock, it's got to be Brock. Not only is it Rockets, but he only has 3 ammo slots. One of the most complained things about Brock's image is why does his image have his rocket that on his model have 4 slots for rockets when he only can fire 3? Well, here's rocket number 4, potentially, right? So maybe now Brock can all of a sudden fire 4 rockets. That'd be pretty cool. So, I mean, obviously that one's gonna be Brock, right? Screeching Solo. All right, who's the only music-oriented brawler? It's Poco. So I gotta imagine Screeching, sort of singing solo, just like that. So maybe Poco now can deal extra damage in some way. It hurts you, whatever. 15, Mama Squeeze. Big Mama Pam. It's gotta be Pam, right? The only real Mama type brawler is Pam. I'm not even gonna try to think about who else it could be. I'm just gonna say it's Pam. I just gotta imagine. Oh yeah, what does it do? What does Mama Squeeze do? I don't know, but I imagine something. I mean, Squeeze is like a super tight hug. So either it's like extra crazy healing or it's more likely damage related because she already has a healing star power. So I imagine they don't give her another healing star power because that would be just kind of redundant maybe. I don't know. I guess it depends on how creative it is. 16, Rolling Reload. Who rolls? Daryl. Daryl rolls. So whenever he rolls, presumably he reloads faster or something. That's my only guess. I mean, obviously it has to do with reloading and rolling. So Daryl. All right, 17, Coiled Snake. Now this one, I really don't know. But I thought about this for a while, and my thought was to look at the brawlers and which one looks like a snake more. And I feel like you gotta say Mortis. And it kind of makes sense. He is a bit of a sneaky guy lurking in the grasses, sort of striking out at you. So Coiled Snake, maybe now when he attacks, he does even more damage or something. Or another thing to think of as a Coiled Snake is he sort of springs out. That's my other thought. So maybe he can do more dashes in some way, or who knows, something like that. That's my thought. 18, Invisi-Heal. Invisible. It's got to be Leon, I imagine. I mean, although Invisi-Heal could just be a heal that no one notices happens, in which case it could be for any brawler. But there is a brawler who literally goes invisible, so I kind of want to just give it to him because I think that makes more sense. So let's give that to Leon. In some way, Leon gets some sort of healing ability. 19, Shocky. Who fires out shocking orbs at enemies? Jesse does. So I imagine 19 is Jesse. What does that mean? Who the heck knows? Shocky? Maybe, I mean, I imagine something to do with her attack, which is the shocking part, I guess. but I don't know. 20, we already said that was BB, batting stance, pat on the back. Pat on the back. This one, I imagine, is some sort of helpful ability, probably healing. I feel like that's usually the helpful thing, but you never know. There could be a different helpful way, like maybe you get reload, or maybe you can grab allies in some way. But thinking about that makes me think, you know, what brawler could this go for it? I don't really know. But there is a brawler who literally has a hand that goes out and grabs you. Kind of on the back sometimes. Jean. So potentially, my thought is it goes with Jean, but it doesn't entirely make that much sense, and I'm not entirely sure. But since we got to eliminate brawlers, let's just give it to him. 22, Meteor Rush. This one, not really sure. I think maybe Brock, you know, his attacks sort of look like meteors, or maybe even when he supers, it's kind of like meteors raining down. Or it could be like El Primo, when he jumps in with his super, it's kind of like a meteor flying down. You know what I mean? It's like flames and everything. Those are my two guesses, but I'm not entirely sure. So why don't we try and just eliminate some of the brawlers first, and we'll come back to Meteor Rush. All right, now, this is the part where after I was doing a lot of these graphics, I realized 23, I thought it said snappy snipping, like scissors, snappy snipping, and I had no idea what that could be. But now I realize it's sniping. It's sniping. So who's the only sniper in the game? Piper. Piper the sniper, right? So I was probably wrong about 3, and that's probably, really, Piper's probably 23. Snappy sniping. What does that mean? I don't know. She can snipe better in some way now, presumably, right? Not entirely sure. But that also means 3 is now completely open up in the air, and I have no idea what that could be. So we'll come back to that. And of course, there is a new brawler. We have no idea what the new brawler is like. So, I mean, all this stuff that I'm sort of like, oh, it has to be this or this. Well, I mean, could just be completely wrong because there's a new brawler, potentially, presumably, that I have no idea what that's like. So it could be any of these, as far as I know. All right, 24, Balls of Fire. First of all, this is a great name. My first thought is like Barley, but I already kind of gave Barley one. So my other thought is, all right, who else has balls? Didn't come out right. But I was thinking Rico has balls and Penny has balls. Cannonballs, okay? Don't go the wrong way. Penny has cannonballs, Rico's... All right, look, let's just come back to this one, okay? 25, Snare a Bear. Bo, right? Bo is the hunter. He snares things and he hunts animals. So that makes a lot of sense. Snare a Bear, I imagine that's Bo's thing. So maybe in some way it's his mines, because those are kind of traps. Maybe they're more like literal snare traps now. And I imagine a bear trap, you know, it has those claws and it yanks you and it grabs you and you can't move. So maybe in some way you get stuck on the mine or something. Or I don't know. But you know, it's like a snare, so I imagine. All right, 26, Well Oiled. So we crossed out Barley, but we still have, oh, we also crossed out Daryl, so we have Carl and Rico left on the board. But that's 2 of them. Let's come back to that. And all right, 27, we already said that was Crow. All right, so let's do some, now we got to do a little more guesswork here and what the rest of these are. All right, so my thought right now, and I'm trying to do like some groupings up here. And of course, since I don't know what the new brawler is, this could completely mess it up. But there's 2 robot-related ones left. Robo Retreat and Well Oiled. And I feel like those are the only ones that are like obviously robot-related. And we have 2 robots left on the board, Carl and Rico. So I kind of want to give both of those to the robots, because that just seems like it makes sense. So I think it makes more sense to give Carl Robo Retreat, because he does have that super where he can like go away really fast. Maybe it goes even faster now. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know. 26, Well Oiled. That also kind of makes sense for Rico, I feel like. He does seem more of a mechanic sort of type. I guess Carl kind of does too, but let's ignore that. Maybe Rico reloads faster, or he walks faster, or he does something better. All right, but let's cross those off. And since we did that, 24, Balls of Fire. I'm gonna give that one to Penny because she has cannonballs. And actually, one of the most commonly suggested ideas from the community for a new star power for Penny was that whenever her cannonballs fire, they're like set on fire. So that would kind of, I mean, that was a commonly suggested idea for Penny. But maybe it's something like that for Penny's cannon, where now her cannonballs are on fire or something like that. That would actually kind of make sense, especially for a pirate too. So we'll give 24 to Penny. And then 22, Meteor Rush. We already gave Brock an ability, and actually I said this earlier, and I was already talking about Brock, and I don't know why I skipped it then. So why don't we just give 22 Meteor Rush to Primo, because he does kind of seem like the only sort of meteor potential thing, like jumping in like a meteor. So maybe whenever he supers, he gets some sort of extra ability, potentially. That would kind of make sense. All right, now let's go back here. Number 3, Protective Pirouette. If I'm gonna give this to a brawler, what one does this make sense to? I don't feel like any of these make sense. I mean, maybe Tara, kind of, like, it is a female, and Shelly's too much of a Tom girl, but I still don't really see that being Tara. So my thought is maybe these all will make a little more sense if we give number 3 to the new brawler, to the supposed new brawler, or whatever it is. I mean, let's just give that one number 3, Protective Pirouette, and I feel like the rest of these will make a little more sense. So then, once that's done, number 12, Healing Shade. I thought about this a little more, and look, Shade, Tara has a shadow, so maybe it has to do with her shadow. Now, maybe it heals itself or something like that after it spawns, although that kind of doesn't make sense. Well, I don't know, but maybe it has to do with that. And then I'm thinking number 8, Tough Guy, and 11, Sponge. Those are both, I imagine, related to like tanks, although honestly Sponge maybe could go with anyone, but I can't imagine Sponge going with Spike, although I guess there would be weirder things. And I can't really imagine Sponge going with Shelly. I feel like it makes more sense to go to a tank. Like, you sponge up more damage sort of thing, you know? So Frank and Bull, I feel like Bull looks more like the tough guy. Let's give him Tough Guy. I don't know, he can take more damage or something. And Sponge to Frank, again, not being creative, he can take more damage in some way, something like that. All right, so we're down to 2, Band-Aid and Curveball. And I said earlier, Curveball, I feel like, you know, if you throw something, it could still work. And Spike, he throws spikes. So let's give the throwing thing to Spike. He'll have Curveball. What does it do? I really don't know. Maybe obviously some sort of his attacks will curve in some way, presumably. Maybe it has to do with the super even. It could be, because you throw that as well. But it's something must curve, obviously, right? So, but also, Band-Aid, number 1, at this point goes to Shelly, which actually, now that I'm looking at Shelly's picture, this makes even more sense, because she kind of does have, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't even notice this. She does kind of have a Band-Aid on her image. So, that actually makes even more sense now. So maybe Shelly is actually Band-Aid, and we're not, wow, that's pretty nicely lucky. All right, what does that mean? I don't know, Shelly now presumably has some sort of healing ability. Remember, if you want the latest information on everything about the next Brawl Stars update, definitely subscribe. And if you want that notification, hit that bell. Let me know down below what you thought of all of this in today's video, what you thought, if these were actually star powers, and if I was right with my guesses, or if you disagreed. Love to hear it. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.